I'm a big fan of gold. I think when you start getting real defaults on the COMEX and things like that, when the physical market really does finally part ways with the paper market, in the limit, paper goes to zero, physical goes to some very much higher price.
Hey, Dave, what do you think happened 3 weeks ago with the gold? Smash, as it's called?
Well, so a shout out on this one. The best summary of it, in my opinion, was written by Grant Williams. He posts with Malden now, but he summarized. He missed a couple things that I thought were important, but it was a well done summary. I think what happened, I saw something coming in advance, but I had no clue what it was. What I saw coming was I saw central banks start chirping about quantitative easing stopping, and that wasn't true. Weird things like the authorities in India started chirping about how demand for gold was causing trouble. And in India, that's like here saying the demand for iPhones is causing trouble.
Well, they wanted to shut down imports.
Right, and there's no logic to it. That's what India does, and it's wealth, and it's crazy, and then here was the smoking gun. They said they wanted to set up investment vehicles that would sop up the demand without actually increasing the demand for the physical, which was excuse me, that's what GLD is doing, in my opinion. GLD is sopping up demand for gold investors, but without taking possession of physical. I think it's a bad hoax.
Well, it would seem to be another form of accounting fraud, really.
Right, exactly. In fact, there's an article out there that describes how they think it's actually how the major banks are using GLD as a way to manage their bullion holdings. It's kind of a holding tank for them. And in any case, I saw these things happening, and next thing you know, all of a sudden, you see these little tiny bits and shards of information. I've jotted down a few notes, and then one day it's sort of going up, and then all of a sudden something like $100 billion worth of short position shows up in 15 minutes. That's not someone selling. That's a monkey hammering. So then the question, so that's what's called a bear raid. Right, it's a classic thing. So a bear raid, they've gone back since the dawn of markets where the bears set up someone. They prop them up like in a cowboy fight. They hold them up and they smack them. And a bear raid is set up when you see an opportunity to really crash the market with a certain sort of a nudge. You push them off the cliff, right? And if you can see positions, if you can see who's leveraged, if you can sense that you can trigger a panic, bam, you inflict the bear raid. The question is, who did it? And it's the low-level sort of interpretation. A bunch of hedge fund guys got together, had some fun with us, right? Mm-hmm. Higher level, the banks, who are reputed to have huge gold short positions. Is that a conspiracy? I, by the way, embrace conspiracy theories. I think men conspire. And
well, I agree with you about that.
They don't conspire. It makes no sense. It's just the crazy ones.
I agree with you about that, but I don't think that people are able to keep secrets.
Some you don't have to keep. Some you just have to suppress the opposition to it.
What do you think of the idea that's been winging around the internet that the gold reserves of sovereign nations are actually not there? That they've actually been either sold off, leased out, vacated, that the gold bars have tungsten inside instead of gold, and these are some of the more far out stories. What do you think of those?
Well, actually, you've got a mix. You just put about 4 different conspiracy theories together into one. My conspiracy theory is it's rather convenient for anti-gold crowd to occasionally drop a tungsten bar into the marketplace to spook people. So if I were going to write a conspiracy theory, I'd say that's just a way of putting the jitters into anyone who's thinking about buying a coin or two. So there's this thing called the leasing program. Bullion banks, which you wouldn't know what it was, but it's basically just the too big to fail banks. It's J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs. These are all also designated bullion banks. And it turns out that they can borrow gold from central banks. And the origin of this, you can imagine, being that someone says, hey, look, we got all this gold. It's just sitting in the basement. Let's lease it out. Let's make some money. Why not? Well, what did it really do? Well, first of all, the lease rates are like 0.2%, so they're not making money. Second of all, what it allows you to do is it allows the bullion banks to take gold, sell it on the open market, and raise capital. Now, back in the days,
selling and leasing are two different things. Once you sell it, you don't have any proprietary interest in it anymore.
That's right. So, you do in the sense that if Goldman borrows the gold and sells it to raise capital to speculate. Now, this is an antiquated idea because now they just go to the Fed and get the capital. But at one point, capital was restricted. And so to borrow gold to sell it gave you funny money to play with. And so I think it was a cheap way to raise capital. Now, here's the problem. The problem is if Goldman has taken the bars, sold them, essentially gone short physical metal, that means they're out there in the world in theory, and the Fed doesn't have them. The Treasury doesn't have them now. And if they ever want them back, Goldman has to buy them back. Well, So the notion that there's bars that are supposedly at the Fed or at the Treasury that don't exist is, if there's a lease program, it almost has to be true, right?
Well, it also raises the question, if the Fed wants the gold back, and they have a good reason for wanting the gold back, namely the fact that other sovereign nations who have stored their gold with American authorities are now asking for their gold back. The Germans,
right, like the Germans.
The Germans requested the return of their gold, which they kept for safekeeping away from Russia for 50 years.
Right.
And the American authorities told them it would take 7 years to deliver it. That's what they told them.
I know. And actually, it started with Venezuela. About a year and a half ago. Germans actually asked for their gold about 6 months before it hit the news. I'm not quite sure what the delayed response was. Back in 2012, the Germans asked for their gold, but it didn't become a news story until this year, and I don't know what the delayed reaction was.
So
there's others.
What did you conclude from that episode?
Well, first of all, you've got to conclude that gold is viewed as more important than they would like to let on. Right, so this notion that gold is some antiquated, barbarous relic strikes me as a little questionable, given that sovereign states are groping for it. There's another bothersome thing, and that is apparently in the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. The gold that's been leased and the gold in possession are a single line. They don't distinguish gold out on loan. Now, it's also possible they've loaned it to someone, but it's still sitting in their vault. That takes you to the Rickards model. Rickards model is the Federal Reserve has everyone's gold in their possession, and even though we don't have ownership, he says, good luck getting it.
Mm-hmm. So and that's a sort of a hostage
that's gunboat diplomacy. Right. And he says that they're not getting it back, and that's why the Germans maybe will get it back because they're big enough and important enough. But the Chinese are certainly buying gold. The Asians are buying gold. So here's your secular shift, by the way. So why would the gold market be changing? And is it truly a broadly based change? Well, to the extent that wealth is shifting from west to east. And to the extent you believe this is a big change, right? This is not just 2012. This is sort of multi-decade shifting of power. The East has a gold affinity that's not anything like the West, and so that means that as the wealth shifts, the importance of gold will also shift with it.
Yes, they have a kind of cultural infrastructure that favors the holding of gold that we don't have here.
And to the extent that we default on them, it's going to get more committed, not less, right?
You mean default on the bonds?
Yeah, on our treasuries, right? So if we start stiffing China with lousy rates on treasuries, their affinity for gold goes up. The opportunity costs are zero, right? So China can either hold gold or hold treasuries that pay nothing. Which would you hold?